As you can see, I made some tea today. Actually, I've been making it almost every day that I've been at home since I came back from Nepal. I think at this point you could say that I'm addicted to it, and I'm not ashamed in admitting that because I love this addiction. It is my favorite thing to be addicted to. It's so good. Not only does it taste so good and comforting, it brings up so many memories for me, and just feels like home. If I were to answer the question of whether I am a coffee or a tea person, I'm definitely a tea person, but particularly a Nepali masala wala tia person. So today I'm going to be reviewing my book while drinking this delicious cup of tea. The book I'll be reviewing today is called The Awakening by Chopin. This was a book that I could have very easily read for free on my phone. When I was in Kathmandu and at this bookstore just browsing through the classics section, I came upon this one, which has been on my reading list for a while now, and immediately I was just in love with this cover. When I first saw it, it was the colors and just the graphics on it that compelled me to purchase a physical copy of it. Once I finished reading it, I realized how significant this image is. I like to purchase physical copies of books that have very artistic, aesthetic looking colors and text and visuals that my artistic eye can't help but, own in some way or another. The book was published in 1899, and it is set also in the late 19th century in Louisiana and New Orleans, a time period during which there were very strict societal norms that women had to abide by, where wives were expected to be the main caretakers of the household, to be caring wives and caring mothers to their children. Very patriarchal society, much more than today. So in the context of this time period and these two places, the protagonist of this story is a young 28-year-old woman named Edna Pontellier, who is wife to Léonce Pontellier and mother to two children who are quite grown. She's described as someone who lives a dual life, where the way that she presents herself and the exterior that she puts on for the world to see is very different from who she is inside and how much she questions the things around her. An outward existence which conforms and an inward life which questions. The story begins in Louisiana in a resort called Grand Isle, where Edna and her family are visiting to spend their summer, and she makes friendships with other people around her whom she meets for the first time or she knew before because they are neighbors. It is during this vacation when she starts to realize many things about herself through her interactions with the people around her. One of those relationships that really impacts her for the rest of the story is the one she forms with a young man a few years younger than her, who she finds feeling attracted to and devoted to in a way that she isn't to her husband. She begins to realize these different feelings inside her that then lead to her emotional and artistic and sexual awakening. In my earlier review, I mentioned how this year I've somehow been reading a lot of queer literature, and I thought that this would be one of them as well, that the awakening she has would be in terms of her sexuality, but it turned out to be a lot more than that. In this very short story, using Edna, oh my god, there is a spider there. So in this very short story and through Edna, Chopin explores what it means to be a woman, womanhood, a woman's independence, a woman's freedom, a woman's sexuality, all of these things in this one character. Sitting in this room, it's one thing to just read it and to think about it and talk about it, but absolutely crazy that it was written by someone who experienced life and living as a woman with so many more limitations than I have. At the same time, it's not a big difference either. There is still so much that women are limited in doing. And ideas of marriage and being independent and motherhood, these are things that we still talk about and things that are still debated and discussed, and there is still a struggle happening for women to really be allowed to live life the way they want. I've seen lots of videos, talking about the history of the universe and how the entire human race is just like a few seconds or minutes or something like that. But yeah, even then, it's someone's entire life, and then my entire life, which feels like eternity to me. And I'm sure it must have felt like eternity to them too, but how these same ideas and these same feelings are just transcending. I just thought it was so humbling to read something written from more than 120 years ago and to still find it relevant and to find parallels to my life and the lives of other women around me. I thought the writing was so pretty. I wish I had a better word to describe it. There were some chapters where I was reading it and I was like, oh, I want to take these words out of these pages, put them on a plate, and just throw in some ice cream and like eat spoonfuls of it. They were just delicious words to read, and I really loved the references to the sea, which I thought was such a significant symbol and such a significant setting for the story and the things that happen in Edna's life. And I also really liked how well Chopin captured the feeling of being in a place where you're not like constrained by your typical routines and where you can just escape all those responsibilities. These are things that in my own life I get to experience very, very easily. I don't need anyone's permission. I don't have anyone stopping me or anything stopping me except for when I have to work. But aside from that, I can always find ways to escape into peace and into appreciating and feeling emotions whenever I want to. But for Edna, it is a luxury and it is something that she does not experience that often. But when she does, it's like it's everything to her. And so Chopin, she portrayed that so well, I thought. With each new thing that she experiences and each new feeling that she kind of begins to own and not be ashamed of, she realizes all the things that are lacking in her life and that she is limited to because of society and because of the patriarchy around her. These lines really struck a chord with me, and I think they're so significant. There was with her a feeling of having descended in the social scale, with a corresponding sense of having risen in the spiritual. Every step which she took toward relieving herself from obligations added to her strength and expansion as an individual. I have no words to add to that. That just speaks for itself, and I will really hold on to these words as a woman who is in her own life trying to just live it on her own terms and to not allow myself to be swayed by or influenced by or tortured by the typical paths that I'm perhaps not pursuing. Someone who really is just trying to understand myself, the world inside and around me. I think those lines I will always look back on and remember. No wonder it's such a groundbreaking work of feminist literature. I'm a sucker for like sad and terrible endings, which this book unfortunately has. And I just thought it was really unfortunate the way that it ended. But again, that in itself was a social commentary, I think. While I was reading this book, though, I kept thinking about my mom and she would think of something like this reading it. I have a pretty good relationship with my mom, I think, but it's not close to the extent where I can talk to her freely about womanhood and about sexuality and things like that. But through her stories and through questioning her about her life, you know, I am aware of the life that she's given up and the life that she never got to live because she married so young at 19, and then she had 4 children pretty young. By my age, 29, she'd already had all 4 of us. The difference between my mom's life at my age and my own life at my age is so crazy to think about. And I do just kind of feel a bit of sadness sometimes for the things that she didn't get to experience when she was younger. The kinds of awakenings that she probably never had and will not have at her age, where she is devoted to her husband, to her children. And I just keep thinking about that and keep thinking about what I could do to add more joy into her life and to add more novelty to it. Obviously, there are some things I can't help with, but I hope one day I can have a deeper conversation with her about these things. I'm going to end this review with one more quote, and it's a long one, so bear with me. In short, Mrs. Pontellier was beginning to realize her position in the universe as a human being, and to recognize her relations as an individual to the world within and around about her. This may seem like a ponderous weight of wisdom to descend upon the soul of a young woman of 28. Perhaps more wisdom than the Holy Ghost is usually pleased to vouchsafe to any woman. But the beginning of things, of a world especially, is necessarily vague, tangled, chaotic, and exceedingly disturbing. How few of us ever emerge from such beginning? How many souls perish in its tumult? Did I pronounce that right? Anyways, I just ruined the narration of a really nice quote by messing up that last word, but oh well. I thought that summarized the heart of this story, and again, not many of us get to experience the privilege of questioning these things even, so I am grateful that I get to do that. I really recommend this. I wish I'd read it sooner. I think I'll read it again at some point in my life. And that's all for this one. Bye.